Yo, hello, folks. Hey, I'm using a different microphone that I don't usually use to record this intro, and I hope it sounds fine. It's a good mic. You know what? What's been happening? Mariachi band music is sounding great. It makes me a little bit sad, though, because in a sense it falls on deaf ears out here often, and it sounds so great. Like, I wish we can get out and play more often. But I'll tell you something that's funny about having the mariachi band here in Jacksonville is the Mexican restaurants. I've approached several of them. It seems like they don't give a shit. They're like, mariachi. You got mariachi band, so what? No importa, mariachi. That's how they act. I don't understand. I will never understand this place. Honestly, it's like, all the people that I love, you know who you are. But this place is a living hell sometimes. And talking to us from a better place is my guest here, who is Sarah G. And we talk about many things. Remember to donate.
The Umbrella Corporation. Our business is life itself. This podcast episode is brought to you by nothing.
Try it for free.
Free. You ready? All right, we're on.
Yippity yip.
Sarah G. right here in the studio.
Word.
Okay, so I guess this podcast, you're gonna interview me because you're telling me you're gonna ask me questions.
Oh, I know. I always think of so many questions when I'm listening to your podcast, and now that I'm in front of a microphone, I'm gonna be like, ugh.
That's how it works. That's how it goes.
Okay, good. So I'm normal.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's how it goes. And I'll tell you what, you gotta. So I don't know if you know this already, but I'm switching the cameras between us while we're talking.
Okay.
But you have to get used to, when you're doing a podcast, you have to get used to the fact that all kinds of good ideas and things that you could have said and you should have said are gonna slip by, and you just have to let it go. Because that's really hard to do, because you want to say the right thing, and you listen back to it, and you're like, oh man, I could have asked that person about that. What an idiot I am. I'm like that happens to me all the time. I'm so used to it now. One of the greatest things about performing and doing this podcast thing is that it deepens my humility. Anyway, like, I'm a total idiot now. Like, I'm just a total idiot. I'm a fool. Playing in front of people. I'm like, I've played in front of people while depressed, while going through a breakup. Wow. You know what I'm saying? I have to be up there in front of people. That's a lot of work when it's like that.
So you just get your game face on, or do you go to your happy place? Or
you know what? Sometimes I do, and then the other times I just don't even care. They're just like, what's wrong? What's wrong with this guy? Like, what's wrong with Goliath? It's like, I'm gonna depress all of you right now. Like, I'm just gonna play this. I don't care. I'm playing this music. But when
the wedding singer over and over again, like,
I haven't
your
seen
vibes rating out.
Right.
No,
Yeah, no.
you haven't seen it.
No, not really. I think I watched it, but I don't remember it. And so that means I didn't watch the whole movie. And but so when I have to play like that, it's a lot of work. When I have to play under those conditions.
Yeah, it seems like you could ruin somebody's wedding vibe.
Yeah, well, okay. So when I play with other people, it makes it easier because I can borrow from them. Mm-hmm. Like, if I'm playing with a percussionist and then a cajon player or a bass player and a percussionist, that helps a lot. Because they're like, oh yeah, Wally, hey, Wally, kill that. It's like, they'll say something and they'll try to cheer me up, So but fortunately that hasn't happened. Fortunately, that's been the minority of the time of me performing like that. So Sarah lives in Canada. No, Sarah lives in Arizona, which I always call New Mexico for some reason, because to me, Arizona and New Mexico and what other state is over there? Those are the four corner states, right?
Utah,
they're all the same.
Colorado.
To me. It's all, to me, those places, it's all just Native Americans out there, like smoking peace pipes and like dirt roads with like these gas stations, or these side roads, these gas stations, and like there's like 3 people in them, and like some older Native Americans working there. You know, I don't know. I don't even know what I'm talking about right now.
Yeah, no, that's part of it. But Sedona is like a little bubble. It's like some kind of, I don't know, little treasure that gets all 4 seasons, and it's at the bottom of a canyon. And Native Americans would actually go there for their sacred ceremonies. Like, they didn't actually live there. You know,
Yeah.
White people are the one that came in and were like, this is great. We're going to claim it.
Yeah.
Homestead. But they would come in and do, you know, sacred things like having birth. There's like birthing caves. It's really cool because it's carved out in one spot. So the women would like be down there, and then the men would be up on top of this rock. And they could have like an amazing view all around.
The men? Yeah, they'd be like throwing little like pebbles at the women or what?
Right, sure.
Yeah.
No, it's more of like they're right under them. So the men are essentially standing on top of the cave. So they could fend off
Wolves.
coyotes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coyotes. There's no wolves out there.
It's more coyotes.
So you said the white folks moved in, and they're trying to gentrify the place. They're bringing in the
Yeah.
coffee shops and
Right.
and the beards. And out there, do they wear the flannels too? The beards and the flannels?
Not so much. It's like
It would look weird, right? If you did that. It looks weird here.
there's tourists. You
I'm a
get-
mountain man in the swamp.
Well, I mean, there's mountains.
Yeah.
That's more like hillbilly, don't you think? Or
No, it's just very Oregon vibe, like, you know, Bon Iver, that whole thing, Iron and Wine, you know.
so you're saying they get flannels?
That whole look that's been going on for some time now. But I've noticed that the beards have been kicking back a little bit. Like, people have been kicking back with the beards. I was like, wow, for a while there, I was like, this is crazy. I was like, I'm playing into a room, and like almost all the dudes have these big old beards or something going on with their beard. And
Look like they should be making moonshine somewhere.
yeah, but it's just funny how people just hop on board. Like, they'll just do anything. Like, wear your baseball cap crooked. Now it's straight. You know, the bill. Now it's crooked. Now it's straight. Now wear high heels. Now it's low heels. Now it's pumps. Now it's high heels again. Now it's platforms. Everybody wear platforms. For some reason, I don't go with it. And
Well, there was a time when everybody had to keep their face clean. You don't think it's kind of a rebellious...
shaved, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. It's peculiar. I don't know where it comes from. Like that particular one. Okay, I'll tell you what. I remember spotting it with lesbians first. It was
Beards?
like, no, like looking like the zigzag guy, like the guy on the pack of zigzags, the French dude with the weird little French hat.
Okay.
First, it was that, and then dudes were doing that. This is just my own anecdotal, like personal experience of how I saw it progress. And then it went from that to the Oregon, like to the mountain man look, and the beard and the flannel. And,
I don't hate on that look.
well, I don't hate it either. It's just bizarre to me to be like 44 and then watch these things happen. What does it look like when you're 70? You know, like, and you watch these things wash over everybody, and then it goes away, and it washes over. Like, for example,
Fidget
I'm sorry, I'm
spinners?
going on over here, but say what?
Fidget spinners.
Right, fidget spinners. I wonder who lost their ass on that. I don't think it took off like they were thinking that it was going to.
They made money for a minute.
Some people did, but I bet you people bought boatloads of those things.
Like the
Like
ShamWows.
containers full. Yeah, I think people made money on the ShamWows. I think those sold pretty good. I think
They're
I have
still
some.
selling them. You're still buying them.
You want to see my ShamWow? I'll bring you one right now. I have a ShamWow in there.
I'll spill something.
Yeah, no, don't do that.
So is that leading into...
It's leading into absolutely nowhere. We're going nowhere with this.
Oh, okay.
This is
I
how
thought
this
you were
podcast
leading
is.
into to yoga being trendy, and that's why. You
Oh,
don't
no,
like it.
no. That's like way down the line. But it's not that yoga is I have a personal reason why. I have a personal reason why yoga gets on my nerves. You know, like, have you ever seen that movie Nothing But Trouble? Dan Aykroyd's in it, and it's this crazy family, and they're really wealthy, but they're really crazy, and Demi Moore is in it, and I don't remember who else. But anyhow, in that family, this man hates bankers. He tells you a little bit about why he hates bankers, but he just hates bankers. He's like, I hate bankers. And then you learn, they took his property or they killed his mom. I don't know, something like that. Mm-hmm. So I have a vendetta like that, like with yoga. And it's a personal vendetta. You know what? And I have peace with my prejudices, and I have peace with my vendettas. I'm not perfect. I'm not trying to be the Dalai Lama. Not even. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, and so maybe it's even more enlightened to have peace with yourself as a flawed individual and embrace that. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's something to entertain, right? I'm not racing. I'm not trying to be enlightened. I'm not trying to race like that whole kind of thing. But the yoga thing, it's easy to make fun of it where I live, because in truth, for the most part, it's been people who are in a nice part of society. They're in the upper echelon of income earners, and they have the disposable income to spend on this and the mats and the Lululemon and all that kind of stuff that it's become. You know what it is, and the spirituality side of it, that one makes me laugh a lot, because I studied yoga. No, I'm not a yogi, I'm not an expert, but I studied it, and the things that I learned about it don't look at all like this. Like
Where'd
what
you
I
study?
see at home, like through books, through cassettes, back when there was cassettes. You know, meditation, I studied meditation. I read about Kundalini. Look, I'll tell you what though, there's a lot of things that I learned about a lot of esoteric spiritual stuff that I've abandoned. I ate it, I chewed it, I digested it, and then I'm like, yeah, like 90% of it is just, it doesn't, it's empty to me. Like 90% of it. 10% of it is really good.
Like the stretching?
Hang on, let me close this door really quick. Like the what?
Stretching?
Stretching is very good. Oh yeah. Excuse me. Like for example, there's nobody. People don't talk to other people the way that yogis in, let's say, India or other places talk to people. You know, that's very new here. Like just the things that they talk about and the things that they're analyzing about our bodies or about our minds or our way of life. People don't talk to you like that here. You know, it's like, it's just not, I don't know why. Like if you pop on Sadhguru or Osho, there's nobody talking like that around here. That's why people freaked out over it, like in the 60s and the 70s and the 80s. But yeah, would you like to know something about yoga? Like, would you like to know more about why I make so much fun of it?
Yeah.
I wasn't just going to say why I don't like it. Well, okay. Now, this is just my opinion, but I think a lot of the people who are into it and doing it are just doing it for the business. I won't tell you the personal reasons. It's too personal. I'll tell you some other time. It's like backstabbing kind of thing, you know?
Ouch.
Yeah. And
But couldn't it just been that particular person?
Oh,
Not
yeah.
like all of yogis.
yeah, but I'm telling you, it gave me a prejudice
Okay.
that I just can't ignore. Like,
All
I'm
right.
like, and it's not baseless though, because some of them, I don't know if it makes it worse because they're in a place where it's supposed to be not. For example, what I'm trying to say is, I don't. If you're a bad person, I understand that. But if you're a bad person and you're hanging out in the temple, so to speak, I don't know if it makes it. I don't know if it makes
Then
you
you're
more bad,
politician?
or if it makes you look more bad because of where you're at. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if you're actually more bad, or it makes you look that way because of the contrast of where you're in, right? So, but
If everything's relative, you'll never be able to tell anyway.
what do you mean?
Like, if everything's relative, that philosophy, then there's no...
Oh, okay. Yeah,
You know.
I see. Yeah.
You'll never be able to tell if there's more or less. I mean, who's to say?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that
If you get infinite lives to come back and keep relearning it over and over forever, then maybe that's just the lesson you're supposed to learn.
you believe you get infinite lives? You believe that?
I can't prove it either way.
Yeah.
I would be more apt to think possibly, but then I've watched Westworld, and now I don't know if this is just an alien planet that we've been planted on, and they come get body parts when they need it. You know?
Yeah, that's funny.
Like, I don't know.
Have you? Is that show still going on? Are they on like on season 2 yet, or what?
I don't know. One of my friends showed me. I haven't been up to date with anything.
I watched the whatever was available, like, and then I was like, oh, maybe they canceled it or something. I don't know. They cancel shows.
No, I think it just takes like 2 years to make because they're so in depth.
I thought you had to make like a show every year or something. Like, so it doesn't work that way. Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay. I need to get back to the people being bad or whatever. Bad, quote unquote bad.
Right. So you're hanging out with the yogi who's a dick.
No. Well, it didn't go like that. But the thing is, I've met a lot of sour, embittered like people.
But is it just in the South?
Maybe. That's where I live, though.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I can't speak for everywhere else, you know, but that's where I live. Now, what I'm telling you is that I don't know if I'm seeing them that way, more so because of the contrast of what they're involved with. Like, it makes it look more hypocritical. Mm-hmm. But I used to make fun of Christian people in my mind a lot for different reasons, you know, and then over this time that I'm learning all this stuff, I realized that Christian people that I met and work with were actually way nicer than the people in the spiritual crew who thought they were exempt from these robots or people who were believing some nonsense.
Sheep.
Right. So, but the thing is, these people are actually, they're not just Instagramming themselves like planting a tree. These people are actually working with special needs kids and doing these hard jobs. You know what I mean? And like they're actually going and changing the senior citizen's tire, and they're actually going and cleaning out this hoarder's house, and they're actually, you know what I'm saying? And these other people are like posturing on internet. They're doing it for each other, you know, and it just pisses me off. I'm getting pissed off right now. It's like, we gotta stop talking about this.
I don't mean to ruffle your feathers.
It's okay.
It's just like every other person in Sedona is a like yoga instructor or massage.
I'm getting mad.
You could never visit. You'd be like pissed at every turn.
But you know, there's people that are cool in the scene. I have friends that are in that scene that are cool too, and then they're my friends. You know, but those friends, they don't mind like you. They don't mind that I make fun of it. You know what I'm saying? Like the less than quote unquote Christians, how Christians are supposed to be all puritanical and like restrictive. The least amount of sense of humor that I've encountered has been in those circles.
Okay.
You know, I'm just like, oh, I can't joke about anything here. It's like somber time all the time. Like somber, solemnity. You know, not somber, like solemn. It's like seriousness. And anyway, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I was going on and on about that.
It's okay. I asked. I was
yeah.
interested.
Okay, so now you tell me.
It's not the pants.
So you do massage therapy. Is that a passion for you? Is it something you like to do? You know.
Yeah. So I actually went out to Sedona to study massage, and a lot of people were like, especially my family, were like, "Oh, you should just go up the street and get a cheap one." You know, it's like it's just a piece of paper or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, if I'm gonna pay somebody to learn something, like I'd like to learn something. And my question, and I've looked at schools for like 10 years, and my question was usually, how do you deal with the energy that you get from other people? And in the South, they're just like, blink, blink. You know, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go now. So
They're like, what are you talking about?
So
Are you talking about stealing cable?
yeah. Electric wires from your neighbors.
Yeah.
No, I was doing massage. So I started doing massage when I was a kid, and my aunt is someone who I affectionately refer to as a massage slut. So I kind of learned young that you could, like, you know, make somebody feel better and get more of what you want later.
Yeah.
So I learned techniques that way, and she actually sent her ex-husband through school so he would, like, learn things. And so I learned from him earlier in life and kept practicing, but realized that, you know, people would find out that I did it, and they'd be like, "Oh, I got this crick in my neck. Can you just like help me out?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I sure." So I could usually release whatever it was, or, you know, help to some degree. But I found with certain people that it was like I took whatever it was that they were dealing with, whether it be like emotional stress, or they didn't sleep enough, or they just like physically,
Yeah.
you know. So I realized that I couldn't touch people after a while because it was too debilitating, not knowing like where they're coming from. So for instance, like I gave this lady massage, and she was dealing with all this emotional stuff that I didn't know. And I went home and I cried and cried and cried. And I'm like, what is wrong with me? Like, how do I make this stop? I feel like a freak. And then somebody else, I slept for like 14 hours immediately after. I mean, just like stuff. It's like, I don't have time for this. Like, I physically you know, don't have time for that. So when I tell people in the South, they're just like, yeah, sure. We got a nice round room for you over here. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm going to go somewhere else. So my dad's sister, which I didn't actually grow up with my dad's side of the family, she found me when I was like 25. So I didn't have anything to do with my dad's side, like not anything at all.
Yeah.
And then she finds me at 25. I'm working at Burrito Gallery. She's like, hey, I'm in town. I'm your aunt. You want to have a conversation? I'm like, sure. So we meet, go to the beach, have coffee, talk. And she's like, I really think you should meet your dad. He has cancer. You know, I think it'd be beneficial for you both. I'm like, okay, cool. So I meet him. She introduces us, and we develop a relationship, and that was cool. And I was able to get to know him for like the last 5 years of his life. And that was great. So that was like 10 years ago. Well, she owned, and still does, a restaurant, like brewery, like microbrew in Sedona. And she's like, hey, I want you to come visit. And I'm like, sure, that sounds great.
Yeah.
So I go out, and it's really cool, and we develop a relationship, and then 10 years happen. She comes to town, and it was her ex-husband's funeral. So we hang out for a few days, and I was in a crappy place that I didn't like in life. It was like nothing was working here. Like anything I tried was just like, no. So she's like, why don't you do massage? Finally go to school for that. And I'm like, well, I've been looking for schools for 10 years. You know, I'm trying to find something. And she suggests this one in Sedona. I'm like, well, you go check it out. I don't want to just fly over there to spend a day. If you like it, then I'll come check it out myself. Mm-hmm. So she's like, all right. Calls me when she gets back to town, like 2 days later, says that she went to the school, she loved it, and she put down my deposit, and I've got 2 weeks to get there.
That's cool.
I'm like, okay. I've got a fully furnished apartment and a car and a job and a cat and like, what am I going to do with all this stuff?
Yeah.
So it was like everything. And so I put the mind state like, okay, if it's meant to be, it'll be. Okay. So everything fell into place. Like, I didn't have enough money. I'm like, I don't have enough money to do a month there. Mm. So friends called me and were like, hey, can you pick up these shifts for me? My friend that I'd helped, you know, when he had pains was like, oh, you finally found a school you like. I'll buy your plane ticket.
Yeah.
And then another friend's like, oh, my boyfriend's moving into town. He needs a fully furnished apartment. He can rent your space. You don't have to move anything. Mm-hmm. My mom took my cat. And then my aunt's like, oh, you have a great aunt out here, too. And you can live in her, like, guest room part of her house. And she's got a car in storage. And you can borrow that. And I'm just like, what kind of
so things are working out.
Yeah, just like, how does this...
Yeah, and that was a great intervention on your aunt's part.
Yeah. No, I was thankful for that. Mm-hmm. So I go out there, and she's like, oh, yeah, so I own a restaurant. You can work there, too. So I've got a job, a house, a car. My plane ticket's paid. My apartment's furnished. I'm like, all right, I guess I'm going to Sedona. Mm-hmm. So I go out there, and it's really amazing. I love it. And my aunt, at the same time, is opening another restaurant. And so we got to, like, when I landed, she's picking out, like, granite countertops. And so I get to do, like, all this fun stuff that's, like, complete polar opposite of what's going on here in the South.
Yeah.
And
for you, right.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So,
because there are doctors living large here.
Right, sure.
And you know, let me ask you something.
Home directors.
So that's a lot. That's a lot. I have several questions for you, but let me start with the last one that came to my mind first. And if I remember the other ones, we'll see. How does it look? How does this place look to you after having gone and coming back? Has it changed a lot? Like, has it changed for the better? Has it changed for the worse? Is it sideways? Like, is it sideways change, or is it awkward, or is it?
It is a little strange for sure coming back, and there's things that I'm nostalgic about, like, you know, people and art walk, because, you know, the art scene I'll always have a love for here. Mm-hmm. But
what art scene?
Like all the murals.
Just kidding.
I'm happy with, like, all the murals that have gone up. Like, that's exciting to see. Because I remember those, like, think tanks. It's like, how do we make the city cooler?
Yeah, I want you to know that I invented those murals. No, I'm just kidding. Like,
yeah.
I made...
And the internet.
And the internet. No, there's just an old blog post that I made. It's called... I was so frustrated with this place, living in Springfield, where I was living.
When you did the Hitler video?
And before that. This was 2007. And I made... images. I went downtown. I took pictures.
I do remember that.
And then I photoshopped murals on all kinds of walls. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like, I was like, this is what this needs, and it's just it takes so long.
10 years later.
10 years? It was 10 years.
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah, I guess so. Maybe that was 2000. It was earlier than 2007. Then it was probably like 2004. It's like, it feels like a long time ago.
Like when the Super Bowl was.
Yeah, something like that. Then. Right. I think so. Somewhere around there. Now, okay, so what do you make of that? Like, I can picture you were wondering, you had questions for me. So you listen to the podcast, right? And then you think of questions. I can imagine one of the questions that you might have, which I have a related question for you, is when all of that stuff was happening to you, your aunt, of course, and then everybody, and all these things fell into place. What did you make of that? Like, what do you make of that?
That was the direction I was supposed to go in.
And like, when people are not getting here, that you could be picking up energy from other people through massage. What is different about people over there that they're more okay with that?
Oh, I think I don't know, there's just like a more open mind state about we're electrical. And so, you can pick up on certain currents or frequencies or, vibrations.
Yeah.
And
yeah, we're like, there's one extreme, like political parties even. There's one extreme where the people are like, no, it's just everything that you see, science, only what you see and what you can measure. That's the only thing that exists, right? Until you can see and measure more, right? So there's, who knows how things work, really, right? You can't take refuge in that. Like, you can't be like, who knows how things work, and that means anything is possible. Right? Because although anything could be possible, it doesn't mean everything is possible for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, or for me, not for you. But so that, like, I just, there's, like, we as we've been talking, like before even the podcast, there's things that people say around here, things that I just smirk at, even internally. And I'm not being judgmental or anything like that, but I smirk at them because other people don't have my path and I don't have their path. But my path is very interpersonally is confrontational and very direct, and
like, as far as getting stuff done, or what do you mean?
Like, as far as like
how you respond to life?
It's I throw a lot of responsibility on myself, I notice. For example, I'll tell you one. And I've entertained many things, and then I don't entertain them anymore. Like, synchronicity. I'm like, right now, and I've been this way for years, I'm like, so what? It's none of my business. It's none of my business. I'm going to keep going with this thing that I'm doing, right? And you might have heard on the podcast, I might have talked about it, where I think that when we pay attention to the clock says 11:11, or things like the people play, or numerology, things like that, or I ran into somebody somewhere, right? It shows me more about my insecurity than any confirmation. Because that tells me, this is me, myself, not personally, right? That tells me that I don't know what I'm doing. Because if I knew what I was doing, I would give that synchronicity a wink. Hey, that's pretty cool. And move on. You know what I'm saying? Because I have somewhere to be, and I have something to do, and I know what I'm doing. I don't need any confirmation from like the shadow or like the numbers on the screen. You see what I'm saying? Like, they're not telling me anything because I know I'm telling it. I'm telling you what's going on. Like, I'm going to tell you what's going on, Goliath, talking to myself or the universe or whatever, And do I have unlimited power? No, my power is very limited. Does that make me strong in relation to everything else? No, I'm weak. But so what? I'm still going to fight. I'm still going to go that way. And I've felt bashful for some time now, like years, because things are like the feminine thing is really on the rise, like the feminine energy, the feminine narrative, right? And I'm very combative, and it makes me feel bad. I feel like a closeted, like a gay man in the closet, like internally, like a, you know what I'm saying? Like, because I can't be that way, because you're not supposed to talk that way, and you're not supposed to be that way, and you're not supposed to be, because my masculinity is toxic, or that side of things is like, it's just, men are just terrible, and they've done all this terrible things. I don't know where I'm going with that, but
I don't know.
so So, but getting back to the important thing is that, which is the question I have for you, and the question in the air really, is like, how do you see things like that? Like, do you see things like in people in Arizona or in Sedona? Are they relying more on that kind of stuff? Because I'm not the science guy, and I'm not the other way. I'm kind of somewhere in the middle. I'm like walking that line, you know.
So, okay, yes. The answer is yes. And one of the...
Yes, they do.
They do look more to that, like synchronicities and, you know, like, oh, okay, I'm heading in the right direction. One of the things that I used to laugh at when I first got to Sedona was you'd hear it all the time, Mercury's in retrograde. Oh, something messed up. It must be Mercury's in retrograde. Like everything, you know, like
that's funny.
Your cereal's not on sale anymore and Mercury's in retrograde. Or actually, I think it's electrical thing, so maybe that one podcast.
But does that it's slightly offensive to me because I'm like, holy crap, that's egotistical. You know, like Mercury cares about me.
I think it's more of like, so for Mercury in retrograde, it's more of like electrical things will mess up because of whatever frequencies. I mean, people out there think more of frequencies and chakras and, you know, your aura.
I'm down with the chakras, yeah.
Like you can get your aura photographed. I tell everybody to do that.
Yeah.
And
how do they do that? It's like an X-ray machine. They do it with a Viewmaster.
Yeah, one of the old school ones. That's funny. They shine some lights behind you and take a photo. No, they, I think it has to do with heat. Mm-hmm. It's like heat censored. So you put your hand on something and that measures your levels and then I don't know, infrared camera.
Now the thing you said about Mercury's in retrograde, I want to elaborate a little bit more on something I was telling you about, if it's okay.
Of course.
Now, I might ask, or anybody might ask. So, Goliath, where do you get like your faith from? Like, where? How do you live your life? How do you keep yourself going? Right.
But faith in what, first of all?
Like faith or... Like
faith that you're going to wake up every day? Faith that the...
Faith or power or energy or inspiration, right? Like, so where do you get it from, right? And I find myself shrinking, like, more and more, and that's where I find it. Like, because things don't have to be so... full of fireworks for me to appreciate them. You know what I'm saying? Like the leaves falling on the grass, right? Where somebody is like, I need more than that shit. I need a fucking cruise ship. Like, it's like, no, I need some synchronicity and I need some of the shit going on. It's like, no, it's like, I don't find it there. Like I find it in my daughter's smile or in a moment or in notes that I'm playing, you know, and I think that there's many reasons for it, but one of the reasons has to do with how much music I've played, how much time I've sat and practiced, and you notice I'm making millimeter adjustments, maybe less, like, you know, that kind of thing. And so I'm sorry, I was going on about that again, but I just wanted to tell you that part. So have you ever wondered, like, okay, so where do you get? Where somebody who's thinking the way that I'm thinking, where do you get that from? Where do you get your inspiration from?
I more feel like that thought process, when you take like the simple beauties in life, like the leaf falling and, you know, wind blowing a cyclone or something small, birds taking flight at the same time, when you just appreciate something simple like that, I feel like it's you have this mind state where you've explored science to a degree that you realize it's a miracle that you're alive in the first place.
Right.
Like the fact that all of our cells are holding it together and like we can function in some kind of crazy spacesuit in the middle of whatever this is.
Yeah, and that they know, like my nose cells know to be a nose
Right. Yeah.
over and over again. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's just crazy.
Yeah.
It's like,
your program is running and it works.
Yeah.
So I think that if you at least wrap your mind around that a little bit, and then if you study the body at all, like the different systems that have to cooperate with each other, then you're like, I'm a fucking miracle.
And then there's 6 billion of these
Yeah.
in a ball floating in space.
Yeah.
So
Right.
that's- yeah.
So what makes you more important than any of the other ones? Like, we're all ants. I feel like being in Sedona, the beauty is so dramatic that you are constantly reminded that you're just a little ant that, in the scheme of things.
What does it look like there? There's canyons, and there's Arizona, and the sky is big. Is
Yeah.
the sky big? Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of stars.
You can see the Milky Way. We're
wow.
a dark
Yeah.
sky community.
Yeah, right here you could see like 3 things.
Yeah.
It's kind of like
Some satellites going by.
not even. I can't even see those. I think I saw those one time when I was a kid. But you know, I really like that vibe. I like the West Coast. Anything like that. I'm from there, you know, and I'm very familiar with the Native American and the Mexican vibe. And these things permeate all the cultures, all the different people that are there. Like, and it's an awesome vibe, you know. And how am I supposed to say, like, the vibe over here is not awesome like that, and nobody wants to hear that right over here, you know.
I
Like,
feel
shut up.
like it's more of
If
a,
you don't like it, you should move.
you're in such, at least in Sedona, you're in such extreme nature that so many things can kill you like so easily. You know,
Rattlesnakes.
you're in like survival mode.
Vultures.
Yeah, because I mean, there's tons of cactus can like take you out if you fall onto one the wrong way. You know,
Oh, wow.
there's like, and
Yeah.
if you hike, everybody hikes. So you're a couple miles out, and then you get bit by a rattlesnake, and I mean, people want their friends to survive more. Like, you're more like encouraging of like, yeah, we hope you make it, because it's fun to have friends in the middle of nowhere.
So here,
Here
people
it's
let
more
go
like-
more, lackadaisical.
I think here there's when I try to describe Jacksonville, I say that there's like swamp gas over it, like the South, because people there are like, what's with everybody having alligators in their backgrounds, and you just get like the most retarded clips of Florida, you know, people doing the dumbest.
There's there's something to that, because they even made a subreddit called Florida Man, and they just post everything that happens here, that happens way more here in this state than other states, and they're trying to figure out why that is. Like, why are people eating somebody else's face off, or
Yeah.
inhaling soap? I don't know, things like that. Or it's peculiar.
Yeah, I call it the swamp gas. But there's also no fluoride in the water in
Over there?
Sedona.
Yeah.
Yeah, the water is filtered different.
Yeah, that's what I think has been happening with singers over the past 10 years, because like they stop enunciating, guys and girls. They're just like, you know, like people went from singing like from the 80s, like Journey and like that, like, 'cause I'm in there, yeah, yeah, right, men, right? Even Michael Bolton, hell. And then now it's like, it's been more like, they don't even want to move their mouth. They're like, 'cause I was walking on the street and I told her I drank too much fluoride. You know, or like Iron and Wine, which they have some beautiful music, right? But it's like, 'cause I drink the water in Florida. I sound like I smoked 20 packs of cigarettes. You know, like that kind of thing. Like, very fluoridated music. I was thinking about making a compilation CD of fluoridated music. And just find those most like examples, the fluoride years.
Yeah.
So there's, do people, how do you see yourself? You see yourself are you into the science thing? You get into the science thing, or you get into the spiritual thing? Or let me ask you, where are your lines? Like, where do you draw the limits? Like, is it like past lives?
Really?
Okay, tell me about it. Like, do you believe in past lives? I'm gonna tell you real quick before you tell me. I don't believe in past lives. The reason I don't believe in past lives is because even when I was a kid, I've never had a feeling that I was another person. I had these weird feelings, right? But I never had a feeling. And then I also...
What about a plant or an animal?
Never had a feeling like that either. But if there are past lives, how come... Where's all child molesters? Like, who was like, I was an axe murderer.
Yeah, but okay.
Like, no, I was Cleopatra.
Imagine everybody's...
I was Cleopatra in a past life.
If everybody's an infinite being... Here was one of my theories, right? So what if we're all infinite, right? And you have so many lessons to learn. So what if you have to live everyone's lifetime before you get to the next planet?
Well, I'm concerned with this one right now.
Yeah.
It's none of my business. When things go over there, I'm like, it's got nothing to do with me. It's beyond me. It's got nothing to do with me. It's just so funny because growing up in Los Angeles and being around the whole G.I. Joe vibe when I was a kid and everything, and when people here, I see them, they make an icon of, let's say, people that go to Guatemala, let's say, and then they see somebody carving a piece of wood, or they see them shining a pot that they just made, something like that. They see them doing something like that, or fixing a car, and that this act looks so much more spiritual in that context from them over there. Why am I talking about this right now? I don't remember. I'm trying to remember right now. Those things look more spiritual, doing simple things like that, because what were we just talking about right now?
If you have to live everybody's life.
Oh yeah, okay, you have to live everybody's life. Do you see those things in like Sedona? Like, do you see things? I don't know. Forget it. I don't know what I'm talking about. I had a point. It wasn't that great of an idea anyway. So it'll come back to me later. Maybe I'll mention it. But the those tasks. I'm still trying to do it. Look how stubborn I am. Look how stubborn I am.
Okay, so back to the evil dude or whatever.
Which evil dude? The yogi?
No.
Kidding.
Sure, that guy. Say he is just here to learn one lesson, and then he gets, one per lifetime. But you have infinity, so what's it matter?
Okay, now the first thing that comes to my mind with that, right, is...
What if it's just a computer
Do you back up, like for example, let me zoom out from
All
this.
right.
Gotta zoom out, because we have to, when we're talking about these kinds of things, to me, we have to take into consideration that we have goals. And we were taught ways to have goals, which is like accumulate or finish a job, right? And the universe as a whole might have like no interest in any of this shit. It's not trying to finish anything. It's not trying to, it might go on forever for all we know,
What if you're infinite, you're God, you get bored, and then you just trick yourself into making like yourself a bunch of little pieces so you get perspectives from all different angles, but really you already know all of everything in order to have something to do.
That's a very bored God right there.
Right. Well, if you already know everything, then you're already bored.
I think
right?
that it's bizarre and sometimes cruel that we're people who know that they're finite. Like, I don't think my dog knows. I don't think the squirrels know. I don't think they know. I think they're hanging out, and I know that they don't want to get killed, and I know that they will fight till death to stay alive. But I don't think that they know, like, we're going to die one day, and everybody's going to die one day. Like, I think that is a bizarre position to be in. And at the same time, I wonder if it's that bad because everybody dies, right? I wonder if
What if you just start where you left off
when you die,
in another dimension?
I mean, maybe, you know, I've just become, especially after becoming a parent, I've just become so practical, right? In so many ways like that. It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny.
What about string theory? Do you believe in string theory? In the quantum physics?
I think that there's a lot of theories, right? And I know that there's holes. After I read about it some, and it got my imagination going, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool, right? There's got some holes in it. It's got like they are theories. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and they are mathematical equations, and it might be so, it might not be so. It's fun to think about it. It's fun to think about alien races and UFOs. It's like,
But see, you think it's fun to think. What I've realized is not everyone likes thinking.
huh? Really? That's
Yeah.
funny. Yeah, I never thought about it that way. Actually, that I think it's fun to think. I guess I do think that it's fun to think.
Mm-hmm.
What a terrible thing.
Yeah.
What
Well,
a terrible thing.
That's why there's 31 flavors,
I know.
at least.
Yeah, that's interesting.
So, speaking of
Niche.
not thinking,
Yeah.
last year I went through the entire football season and got to Super Bowl and found out that it was the Super Bowl and was completely shocked because I didn't hear anything about football the entire season. Like, just missed it. It blew by me, and I'm like,
Because you were in Arizona,
yeah,
and football is big here.
it's huge.
Oh,
I
yeah.
can't go anywhere without watching something.
So if you're going to come back here, did that freak you out? No.
I mean, I'm coming to visit, right?
Yeah. If you were going to come back here and you're going to bring you're
To
going
live?
to you were going to bring some Sedona back with you. Like
Crystals.
Like, how would you? I'll tell you what. Like, living here in Jacksonville, I'm like an old hat person here now. Like, like people go away and they come back. They're like, I'm gonna come back. I've been living in New York for like 7 years. I'm gonna change this motherfucking place. I'm gonna do. I'm like, you ain't gonna do shit because this place is gonna tear you down.
You're gonna get shredded the moment you get back.
It is crazy. Like, it's like people don't want to improve. It's like I've known very talented people in their respective artistic fields. Okay, that have come here. They didn't live here. They came here to live here, and those communities talked bad about them and badgered their work and told people not to go to their workshop. And I watched this happen to other people, right? And then I realized, oh, some of that's happening to me. It must be.
There really is a less encouraging vibe here. It's more about like,
oh yeah,
it's more
I don't even know. I couldn't
hen
even
house
tell you. I quit.
clucking. It's like gossip, like TMZ, who's who's doing who, which doesn't relate to anything in your life.
Yeah.
So I think out there, they're more concerned with people's personal growth. And like people go out seeking enlightenment when they go to Sedona, and they do like yoga retreats and hikes and look for aliens. And
I'm hearing cash registers going off in my brain right now.
You should.
Ka-ching, ka-ching, ching,
There's like
ka-ching,
Jeep
ching.
rides everywhere,
Ka-ching, ching, ching, ching.
helicopter rides, and you can find out what your spirit animal
I'm going to tell you
is.
something I think.
Do you know what your spirit animal is?
Yes.
What?
Honey badger.
Yeah, it is.
I'm the honey badger. I'm just kidding. I don't know. Like, I
No,
know
that's
animals
perfect.
are like,
That's
is it good? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good. So people go over there and they're doing that, and people are making money off of them, selling them chakra charts. I dig chakras, but people don't understand them. Like virtually all of my science-based friends just make fun of me. I can't even get to a point to explain it to them. And my explanation is different from like if you ask somebody here, right? Like, or if you my explanation of them is different.
Okay, what?
Chakras?
Yeah.
Chakras. They're it's like a map that represents something, right? They don't really exist. Some people have argued with me. They're telling me they exist. I'm like, the energy centers, whatever you want to call them. The problem is, like, one of the problems is that once people have used all these words to sell this and that and this and to sell that, it's like these words, you got to change the words. Like, they don't work anymore because, I've been screwed over by charlatans like you, right? Like that kind of thing. So the chakras is their guide posts. Like, it's the best attempt that I've ever seen at determining where energy collects in different parts of the body depending on what's happening to you. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So I feel something in the pit of my stomach. So I'll tell you what, I feel like I'm being silenced. I feel like I can't express myself. I feel like I'm being censored. My throat tightens up. Mm-hmm. And I want to say something, but I can't so my throat gets tight. How do I relieve that? I say something, right?
Your heart aches when you feel something.
Well, your heart aches when you feel love or when you feel pain. And then the whole lying thing, like in the pit of the stomach or whatever's down there, or betrayal, the pit of the stomach, that whole thing, you know. These things they're there for a reason. One of the things that bugs me though is that right away people try to capitalize on these things, like right away. Like, you're trying to capitalize on something. Oh, then that means, you know what? There was a recent Radio Lab podcast. You like Radio Lab, right? Mm-hmm. No, yeah. There's the last one that just came on. I don't remember the name of it. I should probably look at the name of it so I could tell you the people. Oh, well, I don't see my phone. So the very last podcast from Radio Lab, they were talking about this data that, you know how right now emotional and psychological and sociological and spiritual even things are converging with science, you know? Well, those things they're converging with science right now, and there's all these studies that have been done, like this lady, one of the most famous TED Talks of this lady talking about how you hold your posture changes all kinds of things in your like when you hold your posture, emotional states and things like that. And so it took off, right? But when they try to reproduce a lot of these things that become very famous, they can't. So we're just buying it, and we're like, okay, so let's say it's just placebo effect, which is good, fine. Placebo effect works. Mm-hmm. You know, some witch doctors know that that's what they're doing. You know that. Like people can actually turn on something in them to heal themselves in certain ways to different degrees. Mm-hmm. But then on the other side of that is that you have somebody who gets cancer, who has a loving family and kids to raise. Doesn't that person want to get healed? Why isn't that person turning it on? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, and then there's the question of when people say, oh, this person, I was healed. This person was healed. How come it's always things that regress already? Like, how come nobody ever gets healed of they chopped my arm off at the elbow. It grew back now. You know what I'm saying?
I've heard of that kind of stuff, but it's in other countries where they have
India.
More faith.
Right, but we have the internet now. We should have 10 videos of that happening right now. It's like some dude's arm growing back. The internet is killing. One good thing about the internet, and it's painful, is that it's coming for you. Like your work better be legit. You know what I'm saying? Your claims better be legit because it's coming for you. It's like if you're pushing this like stuff that you know
Snake
is hacky,
oil.
right? It's coming for you. Like it doesn't matter. It doesn't care who you are or what it is, or it's interesting, you know. And
yeah, I'm really thankful I didn't grow up with a cell phone in my pocket as a kid.
Yeah. So who knows what effect that's going to have on people, like growing up like that.
Like social anxieties and
Social anxieties. Well, here's one that I spotted real easy. It wasn't easy to spot. Just it's easy. It's an easy one, I think, to see that it's going to have an effect. Is I'm 44, like as I mentioned earlier in the podcast, and when I was a kid, I have a good memory of my childhood. When I was a kid, I would go long periods of time without getting what I want. Okay. Now, somebody who is born into a world with the internet, they may not be getting objects, which they can from the internet, like through Amazon, but they're getting what they want 1,000 times more than when I was a kid. And I notice I've gone on and off having the internet at home. This is a big step, right? It's like I have the internet, I don't have the internet, I don't have it right now. We had it for several months. I didn't have it for over a year, on and off. So doing this, going on and off, I noticed differences in myself where I'm like, okay, so we just got it cut off. Like, I mean, we didn't get it cut off, but I'm saying, okay, we don't have it anymore. And that I noticed that my tolerance for waiting for things and for my patience had dwindled because I'm used to getting what I want, even if it is just clicking on things. It's still doing that in your brain, and what is that going to do? And is that a good thing? You know, like what is that?
maybe that's part of the entitlement problem that's going around now.
You want to talk to me about this problem?
Surely you've noticed that a lot of people think they're entitled to everything.
I mean, coming from a Generation Xer. I'm a millennial. How dare you?
I'm not a millennial.
What do you mean I'm entitled? I'm entitled to you respecting me for no reason right now. I'm a millennial. No, I have seen some of this. I haven't had too much experience with it though. But I'm a very, I hang out, my world is small. I hang out with my kids and my spouse and I see my neighbors, and that occupies all my time.
It's probably being
You know
in
what I'm
the
saying?
service industry. You see it more.
Well, I'll tell you, Billy Corgan, you know who Billy Corgan is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Billy Corgan, the lead singer from the Smashing Pumpkins, he said, I've been famous for a long time. It's a recent interview. And he said, when we used to play, he was in the 90s, every audience had a different energy. It was great.
Mm-hmm.
It was different things would happen with different audiences, right?
Yeah.
He goes, now every audience is the same, and every audience wants the same stuff, the same things.
Like the same music or songs?
The same music, and they want just the same. I don't know. He goes, it's just the same. They react the same. They react the same as the last audience did, and the one
they
before
all have
that.
Selfie sticks.
I guess so, but I'm saying it's like homogenous. I can never get that word right. Homogenous. It's like more the culture's like all one culture now, right? Because the internet kind of everybody's on the same page. So what do you think about this entitlement thing? So you think that could be contributing to the getting what you want continually? And
Possibly.
here's one that I saw. I don't know, it's not entitlement, but I was at a coffee shop. This kind of thing has happened to me twice already. I was at a coffee shop, and my daughter, my youngest one, she threw up. No, it wasn't a lot. It wasn't super messy, but I went to go clean it up. And then I went behind the counter to ask the guy for some cleaning solution or something, because I needed to clean something up. And he's somebody who works there constantly. And he gave me something to clean it up with, and he gave me the cleaning stuff. And he didn't even say, oh, what is it? I'll help you do it, or something, or I'll get it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Right. And then he didn't even give me a chance to be like, oh, you don't want to do this. It's throw up. Right. Because I wouldn't let him do it. Mm-hmm. But, and then another time, I was buying insurance for the car, and the girl behind the desk, I was asking her how much the total was. And she was expecting me to get my phone out and like add it up. She was just like, she's like stalling, right? Like, I go, so is it less if I buy 6 months? Is it less than if I pay every month? She's like, well, it would be this much and this much. And I go, so how much is that? I'm asking her. And she's like not doing anything about it, you know? And then so, I mean, you could say that I'm entitled, right? Like I want her to do it, but I'm gonna give her hundreds of dollars right now. You know, no, I'm not entitled. The tip jars. What do you think about these tip jars?
Oh man. Well, since I'm in the service industry, I like them. But
Well, yeah.
I understand. I've heard your perspective about.
Okay, the ones at the cash register.
Well, which cash registers? Like, what are they doing for you? Are they making you a coffee? Are they making you a latte?
They're making me a coffee.
They're
making me a latte. They're ringing my burrito up at Moe's. They're making me a latte. Which is what they're there to do. You know? Mm-hmm. So I'm not annoyed by them, but I'm annoyed by the fact that our society has turned into something where
it's not more European.
Well, the business people either have been forced in the position to, but whatever the case is, however they got there, they're outsourcing the wages to the customers because obviously this job is not paying enough, right? Being behind a counter. And that's...
Do you put out a tip jar?
Do I put out a tip jar? Oh, yeah. Yeah. You know, but, I'm playing music. And even if I'm making good money, if they let me, I'll put out a tip jar, you know, because I'm a capitalist. Right?
Yeah. There it is. We're in capitalist America.
Yeah, right. But the thing is, so where can I draw the line? Like I was thinking about getting a t-shirt made for the podcast, right? With a pocket, and the pocket has a tip jar on it. Like tips.
Nice.
Like right here, just tips. Just
That's
give me tips.
good.
I'm here. I was thinking about going to the bar, and I'll take my tip jar and I'll put it out right there, right? And they'll be like, why are we going to tip you? Because I'm Goliath and I'm here and I'm talking to you. Well, that's not a tippable. Sure it is, right? It's like, so then I'm fine. Fine. Let's
Time
all
is
tip.
money.
Everybody tip everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody tip everybody. And that's great. You know, but I'll tell you what, I swear I'm very good with body language. I think that I'm good with body language. And I just realized how much I'm talking, but, and I'm very good with body language. And I realized that like I think that when the people turn the iPad cash register thing around on me and it says tip or no tip or 5% or 15, whatever it says, and I don't, I swear they rip the receipt off of the receipt making thing harder.
Yeah.
Like they're like, I'm like, oh, I see. It's like, and I kid you not, I swear, in times where I felt insecure, you know, you have high days and you have low days, days where I feel bad, I feel insecure. I thought about going to the coffee shop, but that fucking tip jar has kept me from going there because I don't want to I feel so insecure that day or so low that I don't want to I don't want to look at the person and not tip them, right? And I used to tip awesome. I used to tip everybody. I used to tip awesome all the time. But then I had kids. I don't have any more money. So it's like I feel like I'm being made to feel bad. They're not doing it on purpose, but they're expecting me to do it, and I'm like, no. I'm like, I'm not gonna gratuitously gratuit you, like, you know. And you're in the service industry, and I have friends in the service industry, and I put out a tip jar, and people be like, do you put out a tip jar? I was like, here, you play this guitar then. Can I make a coffee? Let me go make coffee right now. It's like, let me see if I can run this like latte machine. I'm sorry. Now everybody's gonna hate me.
No.
The camera's frozen on me right there.
I'm sure it takes longer to learn some Spanish guitar than it does to make a latte.
The camera froze on me. The camera froze on me because I hit it.
Mercury's in retrograde.
Yeah. No. So I mean, what do you think about that diatribe right there? Like, honestly, would you, if you could, would you get rid of the tip jars and increase wages, or?
Oh yeah, sure. I think that'd be great. I like the whole European thing where they just pay you more and you get benefits and you don't have to worry about tipping people. Like, yeah, that sounds great.
Yeah.
I think there's plenty of other solutions that are better than like what we've come up with this far. But then there's politicians and people that like having control over other people. So you get
so people
president.
are not making good money. The cameras, it's only you now. My camera stopped working.
Darn.
The people my camera's funny. I'm frozen in motion. I'm frozen in motion and it's blurry and I'm like this.
That's good. I hope I get a good frozen one if I'm gonna get stuck.
So
wait, I remembered what I want to talk to you about.
Oh yeah.
Because I don't care about tips. Yeah, money, whatever. Currency, sure. That's a good idea, but whatever. I wanted to ask you what you think about nanotechnology.
Nanotechnology?
Yeah. You
like Mork? Like Mork and Mindy?
Nano.
He was ahead of his time, that guy.
Yeah. He knew it was coming.
You know, I haven't thought about it much. I think it's super cool when they make something go in somebody's body. Like if they have done that, or if it's just an idea. That's really interesting, though. Like that's the only thing I've really looked at. I've also heard of people making nanotechnology that end up building cells or building constructing actual things, and maybe even tissue, you know, or fibers, you know. But yeah, I haven't thought about it much. What do you think about nanotechnology?
I think we should probably invest in it.
Really?
I think so. But then I also like conspiracy theories.
Oh yeah, they're good. They're juicy.
One of mine.
They're like a steak or like a big tofu sandwich if you're vegan.
Yeah, if you get the right one.
The tofu.
One of my favorite ones is, are we already being sprayed with nanotechnology from the chemtrails?
Oh, Sarah, you believe in the chemtrails?
Yeah.
Okay, you need to start coming to Jacksonville more often.
All right. Well, why?
Because it's just like...
Because they do or don't buy into it here.
I'm sure many people do, actually. But from what I learned about the chemtrails, it's just not a deal. It's not a thing. Like it's not. It
doesn't exist.
They're spraying for weather. You can change the weather by spraying. I don't know the science behind it.
Yeah.
No, I'm saying you can actually spray chemicals through a plane in the sky, and you can make it rain or not rain, something like that. Mm-hmm. Like you can actually make that happen. It has to do with like little particles or like something. Yeah. And but as far as I know, like the chemtrails, they're not dropping chemtrails on anybody. that are doing anything chemically, like to people. Like, what do you know about? Like, what do you think about that?
I don't know. I mean,
those pilots, they got to be pilots. There's the internet. Nobody's like been talking.
Right.
It's not like two guys flying around the whole world.
Yeah.
Like,
but have you seen the pictures of like inside the planes? They're just giant chemical tanks that are squirting stuff.
No,
out.
I haven't. I haven't seen pictures of that.
It's pretty intense.
But where are those pictures? Are those even? I gotta investigate.
They've been deleted by now. Who knows?
You can't delete it. The internet won't let you delete things.
Yeah, I don't know. I was on chemtrails and HARP like back in
HARP is interesting.
07.
Huh? Yeah. Oh, I was into. Oh, you want to tell me? I was into everything. I was crazy.
Yeah.
I was down rabbit holes. I was down some rabbit holes, but I had to. I had to look into it, right? Like this is when the internet first.
Especially if we're going to pay for it. Net neutrality. When's that happening?
The net neutrality thing. You think it's really going to happen? Man, people let anything happen in this country. Like they let everything happen. People, but I can't blame them. Activists are always at a disadvantage. There's no.
Yeah, they don't get paid marketing time.
Right. You know, people have lives to lead. They got to put their tip jars out on their counters.
Right.
Because they got to make ends meet.
Yeah.
Because they got to pay for that Uber and pay for that Meals on Wheels, whatever it is. They send you the meal to your house. Because we're all like fancy like that now.
No, that's for like old people. Oh, you're talking about like Uber delivery or something?
No. Like they'll send you food to your house, like, and you just open the packages.
Like old and
no, you just
can't
open.
Do
No,
things for yourself?
Yeah, Meals on Wheels is, but you open the packages and you just it's already prepared. Like they send you prepared
microwave
foods,
dinners,
something like that, and or you hire somebody to do your laundry for you. You seen that? Like you hire somebody. Have you ever listened to Benjamin Walker's Theory of Everything podcast? Mm-mm. It's pretty good. There's this series called of 3 of them on there called InstaSurfs, and it has to do with the sharing economy, and it's pretty clever because the host Benjamin Walker,
like what Native Americans did,
like what do you mean?
The whole sharing economy, like your tribe has goats.
I'm so jealous of you that you're around Native Americans. I miss them so much. Yeah. Like just seeing them, like when I was a kid, I'd be like, we'd stop at a stop sign somewhere and you'd see this dude standing on his porch, all majestic with his long black hair, just standing out there. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that looks
50s pickup truck.
Yeah. The things that I read about, European settlers, so many of them, they loved the Native Americans. They had so many of them had trouble shooting them when they were in the army.
Good.
Yeah, but I mean, it didn't turn out good. But I'm saying, but they did. They loved them, and there was so many cases of Europeans going to live with the Indians that they had to pass a law that you could not go live with the Indians.
Yeah, their culture's like sharing and warm, and you know. You're here on the earth for a minute. Let's like take care of the earth too. There's enough for everybody. Like, that's great. They recognize that it is a miracle that we're all here. You know, the fact that you didn't get aborted in the first place.
Yeah. Aborted or just, just the fact that it's happening. It's like, let me ask you something. Well, it might be, I don't know. Do you think about death, like, every day? Do you think about your mortality every day? I think about it every day, like, more than once a day.
I think that's because you have kids.
No. Oh, no. I've been this way since I was a kid.
How
crazy is that?
I feel like I go through phases. Like, there was this phase where I wanted to plan funerals, like, life celebrations. And I'm always like, why do funerals suck?
I think you would be good at that.
Like, why can't we, if I die, when I die, like I would rather have a party.
No, if you die.
Yeah, if I die, because I'm just going to keep regrowing my organs now that we're in the 21st century. Mm-hmm. Replace them. Epigenetics.
You want people to have a party?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
I'd rather people like listen to my favorite music and eat whatever my favorite food is.
They're going to be sad.
Laugh about stupid stuff that,
Yeah, but they're going to be sad.
Or like the New Orleans, where you get a whole band to like parade down the street.
Yeah.
Like.
So we're disconnected from death, unlike the Native Americans. Like we're disconnected. Like you don't know what to do when somebody dies. Like if I died right now and there was nobody else around, you wouldn't know what to do. Like what are you going to do? Like, do I bury him? Like what the hell do I do? Like, I don't even know. Like I got to call somebody. Like you got to call somebody. If you don't know how, people don't know how to give birth either. Like they're like, oh, yeah, I got to call somebody. It's like, I don't know how to do this,
Yeah. You don't just squat anymore.
No.
Squat in a cave with your man upstairs looking out for coyotes.
No, I mean, people are getting into that. People are, what do you call it? Backtracking. They're backtracking on a lot of things. It seems like technology, like European technology, oversteps. That's where I think social media is at right now. Like it oversteps, and then it goes, wait, hey, hang on a second. We got to reel this in a little bit. You know what I mean? People are like, nah, that's just too much canned food. All right, the TV dinners is just like too much TV dinners. It's like that's gone too far, you know.
Need like an apple.
Right, eat an apple instead. Yeah.
Grow some vegetables.
So I think about my mortality. You want to talk about somebody who savored a lot of their life? I think I thought about my mortality like every day for
do you think that's
30 years.
Compelled you to create more? Like more music?
That's compelled me to
like
everything.
How your responsibilities, you're like, I have a lot of responsibilities. Do you think that's because you're thinking about like, I'm going to die soon, I got to get this shit done?
No, it's just that I had a nervous breakdown when I was in 7th grade. I thought I was dying.
Maybe you were.
Maybe I was. But I was not. And I thought I was dying. And it turns out that I was not dying. But that never left me.
But what was your breakdown? Like, what were you just like,
I
burn
couldn't
all
function.
your school books? And
No, I couldn't function at school. It's like everything at school went into the into the background.
Like none of that mattered because you thought you were
All of
on
a
your way
sudden-
out, or
No. Like, well, it started off as like that. Like I felt like the world turned itself. I thought like maybe what if I had mental illness? Like the world turned it inside out somehow. And all of a sudden, I'm a kid, and all of a sudden, this homeless guy walking on the street is like breaking my heart. And I'm like asking my dad, "Where's he going?"
Did you hit puberty then?
I guess around then, right? Around then, like 7th grade. And but the thing is, at 4th grade, I realized I was in 4th grade, I realized I was in an institution, and then I didn't like it anymore. The lunch lines didn't look the same to me, and all these things. And I probably realized that because I had a very philosophical father at home, and so thinking the way that he does, that probably got into me somehow, you know. And so, but in school, during 7th grade, my parents they split up. So I had real problems at home. All the things that entail a split up and the things that led up to that. And so I was an adult now, right? And these people were asking me to pay attention to pre-algebra. I have real problems, lady. You know what I'm saying? It's like, nope, that's not going to happen anymore. It's not going to happen anymore.
Yeah.
You cannot get me interested. You talk to me. If somebody were to be like, oh, let's find out what's going on with Goliath. Oh, his parents are getting divorced. And they started dealing with me from there, we would have had something. You know what I'm saying? But if they're like, you just need to buck up and shape up and like get into the things that you're supposed to do here, I'm like, there's totally irrelevant now. And the only things that were relevant at school were escapes. Music class and history to a degree and gym. And those are the things that I was excelling at. Those things that were actually soothing me. You know, anyway, the school system's whack. Everybody knows it. You know what I'm saying?
Well, so think about if you were in a tribe at that point, would that be your like going off to be a man ceremony and you decide that these are the things that I like, music, history, and so you get to be the lead historian or musician?
Yeah, if it was during that time, yeah, that would be like they're going to send me off to Montessori school, you mean?
No, they put you in a circle in the woods with ayahuasca and tell you to figure it out. And then you're like, I love music.
Yeah.
And then
You know, the natives call it making medicine. You know, they call hardship medicine. And they call, you go off and, you don't take ayahuasca, but like the Lakota, you go off and
don't eat or
right.
something.
3 days.
3 days, yeah.
3 days is the maximum. And then not only that, but you're supposed to stand facing the sun, or you're supposed to get in the water, the cold water, up to your neck or up to your nipples, like where your chest and your mid chest. And you're supposed to be in the water, and you're supposed to follow the sun all day. You know, and you're not drinking any water and you're not eating. But something about that like makes medicine for them, and that's what they called it. And when they like Custer and all that kind of stuff, they thought that was medicine. That's what they called it, like medicine that came back for him. They gave him medicine. It's interesting. It's a really interesting. It's an unfortunate thing that that Native Americans were so wiped out. Like, can you imagine if a lot of it stayed intact alongside with the Europeans? Let's say there was a 50-mile gap between them. They're like, okay, fine, you guys over there, we'll be over here. We would still have
tracks
that.
To go hang
you could
out with
go
them.
And live there right now if you wanted
Yeah.
to. You're like, holy shit, that is an awesome life. I'm gonna go live over there right now. But you can't now because it's gone. Like the whole thing is gone. Isn't that terrible? All you can do is read about it. And people try to break it down. People try, oh, you're romanticizing the Native Americans. No, it's not that old. Like there's a lot, there's people still know, and there's a lot of literature on it.
They're really that cool.
Yeah, they are really that cool.
And you are the white devil.
Well, you can't say that around here.
I can. I know my history.
Huh?
I know some of my history. It's embarrassing when you go just a couple steps. You're like, ugh.
Oh, really? Really? Don't tell me about it. I don't want to know.
Not.
You can't say that on here because people
Sorry.
chase you.
Yeah. We can leave my face off, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I wanted to tell you that as far as like the whole universe, thing where you don't believe in synchronicities or whatever, or
no, I believe them. I acknowledge them. I believe them. It's just none of my business, so to speak.
do you think that synchronicities happen so that you'll, like, say you put something out, like you want to make music, for instance. Okay, so I wanted to have a conversation with you, so I'm like, okay, I want to have a conversation. I know that I want to have a conversation. Mm-hmm. I've said it out loud. Then you make steps to have a conversation.
Yeah.
But you still have to have synchronicities in order to actually have that conversation. For stars to align, so to speak. So, do you think that speaking it does create... like you speak things into existence?
I think there's something to that. I'll tell you where I think that for me, that exists the most. Is when I'm looking for something, and as soon as I ask somebody out loud, hey, have you seen my phone? Oh, there it is. Never mind. Right. But if I don't ask anybody, I don't see it for some reason. But as soon as I ask somebody... As soon as I say it out loud, there could be nobody in here. I don't know if it works that way either, actually. but I'm saying, as soon as I ask somebody, there it is. I'm like, oh, wow, there it is. Or, oh, you know what? I remember where I left it now. There is something to it. There's something to us speaking and speaking it out. I think it's exaggerated. Like, there's a lot of things that I used to like to make up about the Bible. Like, the world was spoken into existence. Right? And who knows what that means?
String theory?
What I'm saying, who knows what speaking means to those people, to way back then, or to that person, or to that thing. Who knows if it's even speaking they're talking about, You have a word like gay, which used to mean something completely different. And if we wrote, let's say, a religion based off of that word right now, in 100 years, in 200 years, they wouldn't know what the hell we're meaning by it. You know, like, okay, so it could mean somebody who likes the same sex, or it could mean somebody who's very happy, right, in a frolically like type of way. Like, that's a big difference. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So there's so many words in the Bible, and there's so many of these old words. Anyway, I don't know why I got off into that, but the synchronicity thing, I just stopped giving it credence because in the end, when I was telling you, I'm very confrontational with myself. And I'm telling you, it's like I level with myself hardcore. Like in the end, like, okay, what is this? Where are you going with this? Like, what are you getting out of this? And what are you doing? I watch so many people delude themselves. I've watched over years in social media, thinking that they're getting shit done. It's like people are like standing at a pond or a lake, still, right? And they're just making waves. They're making ripples out. And they think just because they're making those ripples and they're hitting other people's ripples, that's doing something. You know? And I'm like, okay, so...
Well, I mean, technically it is doing something, but you mean something...
It's a very, like, low... It goes back to that instant gratification thing again, because you want some ripples back.
What about the butterfly effect?
What is that?
Believe in the butterfly effect?
How's that go?
You know, like something small effect.
Oh yeah, 100%. That's totally. It's a totally interdependent world. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think that you could substitute. Like, I can't go into the closet right now and do like some Wiccan witchcraft and think that it's going to make me learn how to play the cello. I have to sit down and hammer that playing out on the cello. It's not going to happen any other way. I can't go and like go to a spiritual retreat because I want to play the cello. You know, you have to engage what you're trying to make happen, you know? And if these philosophies that I have, like, if they're actually work and they're real, like, this is where I may not be legit, because why aren't I rich? I'm just saying, it's like, it's not been a priority of mine, you know. And that's I have
probably
been.
Why.
No, I know, and I have been rich. I really have been, like.
But then also define rich.
Like, for example, I have had so many years in my life, right? And I'm very proud that I made those happen on my own, so to speak. Like, I didn't have a rich uncle, and and my dad didn't bail me out, and you know, that kind of thing. Like,
yeah.
And the people did help me along the way. It's not to say like I'm not like, oh, I did it all by myself. I did a lot of it by myself, but I lived without wanting for anything, and I couldn't spend my spare money, even buying my friends lunch and dinner. You know what I'm saying? I was never going into the red or the black, whatever the hell it is. I just couldn't get there. First of all, I was working too much, and I was enjoying my work because I was playing music. And every time I was playing, my tip jar out there. and the tips were paying for most of everything. They were paying for the gasoline. So whatever money I was making, I wasn't even touching that. You see what I'm saying? And it's like, because I'm just one guy, and I could only eat so much, and I could only drink so much, and I could only, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I was rich for,
and you didn't want a Lamborghini, so.
No, if I needed a car, I got a car. If I needed a cab ride, I got a cab ride. If I needed a plane ticket, I got a plane ticket.
But you probably weren't buying Gucci this and whatever Prada.
No, but the thing that I was spending money on the most was food and instruments. I was buying instruments. I was buying nice congas. I was buying things that I liked, like really liked. And I thought they were assets too, you know. I'm not the best person with finances. Like, I'm 50% foolish. Not foolish like I spend frivolously. But I don't know how to manage that. Like, I'm not a math person. You know what I mean? You know how you got friends, well, what you need to do is you need to move your money into you need to invest your money into and then put it in the so you know, like, I'm not I've been like so dumb with that kind of stuff. Like,
it's always tomorrow.
There's always tomorrow?
Well, maybe not. There isn't. I mean, because we're gonna die. So.
No. So now I have a motivation to make more money
Because of your kids.
because of my kids. They've changed a lot of my perspectives on a lot of things. Because it's not my ideals anymore. I can't like impose my ideals. I don't have any credit. I don't have any debt. I've never had a car payment. I've bought my cars cash, et cetera, et cetera. I can't impose that on them. You know what I'm saying? Like they'll see me be that way, and they've seen me be that way. But I'm saying like, I can't be like, well, I'll just go without. You go without too. You know what I'm saying? I want them to have the option to, if they want that, then they should try to have an opportunity to do that. Whatever thing that I don't care for. What if my daughter loves money? Fine. You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of thing. Or what if she loves material things? I don't think she will, but what if she does? It's like I can't be like I don't know.
You're wrong for liking that.
Right. I can't impose. It's just there's so.
But you can share. This is why I live this way, because it's a more enriching life than just being quote unquote rich. Because people that are rich, I mean, just money can be miserable, horrible people.
I haven't met very many obviously
rich.
happy, wealthy people. They
No
have
money,
a
no problem.
lot of things to be unhappy about, which is weird. Like they're unhappy about the forks, and they're unhappy about the cloth on the caterers. They're unhappy that the smoked salmon is not here yet for the party. They're unhappy about the parking people outside.
Things.
They're unhappy about. There's so many things to be unhappy about. And when you get wealthy, like let's say you think to yourself, right? Oh man, if I give them a lot of money, I'm going to stay in Jacksonville. Let's say somebody who's going to stay here, and you'll get one of these big houses on the river. Right? You're not taking into consideration that you're going to have to cut that lawn, and you're going to have to clean all those rooms. You're going to have to because your friends and your peers around you are of a certain level, and they're not going to have you opening your garage and it's just going to be all wreck in there. Like your garage has to look like you got to be able to eat off the floor.
Status.
Right.
You got to be. Yeah, sure.
Right. So you have all of these things to keep up with, and there goes your expenses are going up, and you have these pressures. When I moved, this is the nicest neighborhood I've ever lived in, and when I moved, as I keep moving up a neighborhood, the people are unhappier and laugh less, and they're unhappier in general. They seem unhappier, and there's a lot more complaints about things. It's a weird dynamic. That.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of homeless, happy people.
You got no choice.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
Right.
Like,
it's all your mind state. You better be happy.
I'll tell you something. Our car broke down recently, and we had to get it fixed. And I had to walk down Powers. You know where Powers Avenue is? Over there? University in Powers?
Yeah.
This runs parallel to Phillips Highway. So Powers, for those of you who don't know, this is kind of an industrial-ish area. It's an area, I called it a relevancy desert. Like everything there is irrelevant to me.
Can't
like,
you get a hooker?
No, there's not like that. There's not that kind of things on that. That's one street over, one big street over. And but it's a relevancy desert because like there's a store that sells washer and dryer parts, and there's a store that sells vacuum cleaner parts, and then there's another store that does pipe fittings, and there's another store. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And there's another store that's like a mattress, and there's like
Springs.
And I'm like, I just want a cup of coffee. My car's broken down. And like I need an internet connection and a cup of coffee, and there's like nowhere, right? It's like, and you're walking down the street, and it's a street. Their cars are going pretty fast down there, and there's no reason for anybody to stop there unless you have a reason to stop there. Mm-hmm. There's nothing to see. There's nowhere to go. It's like, and I'm walking down the street. Something inside of me came alive. I'm like, I've been in this position so many times. like this kind of a position in this kind of place, like in this kind of awkward place, something came alive in me. And going back to the Native American thing, their life is more real, like that kind of life that used to be in like in the 1800s, 1700s for them. But going way back, even further than that, because they're even Europeans from the late 1700s, let's say, their lives were more real because your life was relevant. Everything you were doing was relevant and direct to your survival. And when I was walking down Power Street, I may have been on Power Street, but it was all purpose. Because I'm on Power Street with a purpose. Because why else the fuck would I be there? It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why else would I be there? It's like, and you've been in situations like that, right? You've been in situations like that where, like, you said when you were in Jacksonville and before you left that everything was just going wrong. Like, what was going wrong, by the way?
Oh man, it was like a country song.
My dog died.
Yeah,
my truck.
My dog got taken in a move, and I had to move out of my apartment. And
you're talking about that cool apartment that you had with a stage in your house?
Yeah.
Nobody's ever going to see an apartment like that. And I've tried to describe it to people, and they just don't. They're like, what?
They think I'm like squatting an abandoned school when I try to like describe it.
They had converted a school into lofts, and you happened to get the auditorium.
Yeah, the cafetorium.
The cafetorium, which had a stage in your apartment. There was a stage with curtains.
Original
and round, right? Like a real stage.
Yeah, backstage.
And a balcony, and your bedroom was the balcony.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy? That's amazing.
It's weird to think
that
about.
one must have hurt though, right? When they were like, you can't stay here anymore. And you're like, this is such a cool place, or you didn't like it in there?
It was, well, I was there for like 8 years. I lived in the school.
Yeah.
So that space I was in like 5 years, and it was 3,000. It was over 3,000 square feet, and it just was way too much for one person.
Really?
Yeah. So moving, I was actually kind of relieved to have something smaller that I could maintain and keep clean. Mm-hmm. You know, versus that place was good on distracting from all the dust and junk everywhere. Yeah. Like, don't notice the mildew on the windows because the ceiling's 3 stories high. So that was good.
Yeah, the ceiling was high.
But I saw it. It was like constant set design, you know. Mm-hmm. And I had to get tons of stuff in order to make it feel homey.
Yeah.
So then getting rid of all that stuff, I'm just like, oh my God, I'm a hoarder, but I've got enough space so it doesn't look like I'm that bad.
Yeah. Yeah, it didn't look hoarderish to me when I was there. I remember plenty of stuff.
I had 2 pianos.
Oh,
and
right, okay, yeah.
A drum set. Like, I don't play music at all.
But you know, the stage, it's like, that's what you remember. People remember the stage. There's a stage in your house.
Right.
And your bedroom is the balcony. Yeah. Like, okay, wow.
Yeah. It was fun.
Yeah.
Having shows there. I should have done more shows, really. But, say la vie. It was a good time.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember you asked me like to do something, or I was down to do it, but I just didn't know. I don't know if I couldn't figure out the time, or you couldn't figure out the time, or we couldn't sing up on or whatever. I don't remember how it happened. But I liked it. Yeah. I liked it.
There was also like neighbors that didn't want me to have loud parties and get rowdy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I still did stuff there. And somebody said it was split in half. So there's like my half that was the stage, and then the back half that was the actual balcony. Mm. So my next door neighbors had that, and supposedly some guy from the symphony got that space and has been doing shows. So it might still live on.
Your old place or the other side?
The other side.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what happened to my space.
So the art scene, when you were talking about the art scene here.
So I'm nostalgic because when the art walk started, I referred to it as the art wa. because I'm like, hey, let's go to the art walk. And they're like, the what? I'm like, the art what?
The art what?
So it's fun to see how much that's grown. You know, it started off with one street, Laura. There's like 8 spots.
Yeah, it's big now, right? But I it's never really done much for me. I like it, but like
it feels like a real city once a month.
yeah, it does. Well, I go there and I play some gigs sometimes. Otherwise, I don't really go because I used to go for the art, and I'm like, oh, what's art? It's like, you know, art. The art scene. The art scene is made not by artwork, right? It's that art is a way of life.
Yeah, man.
Right? Toke it up.
Yeah.
No, I'm
Way
just
of
saying it's like
life.
art is a way of life, and that's what makes the scene. Like that's what makes the art scene. You know, and if there's not enough people living that way, there's no art scene. You know, like you need a critical mass of people.
Well, do you remember the place that I lived before the school on 8th Street? And it was like this old motel looking thing.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And so I thought that was like the closest to an art colony.
That was great.
Because
that was good.
Like
too
I moved
small,
in
though.
because Thursto was there. And
Didn't Mac live there? Mac Truck
muraled all
lived there?
the walls. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mac Truck was downstairs. And then Catface Murphy was over there somewhere painting cat heads. And then Tony Rodriguez. And then Carlos from a 95 South was downstairs with his hair salon. And
That era of Springfield,
yeah,
that was really unique.
that was
And
fun.
It was unique. It was fun. It was really interesting. It was unique. That was big city. That was like back streets, New York, something like what was happening there. What was happening when I moved to Springfield, when I decided to move to Springfield in like 2002 or 3, right? That was like, I moved there for a reason. I go, oh, look at what's happening here. Like a bunch of artists were collecting down there. What happened to that? What happened to that? It's like, it had this momentum. Oh, I know what happened. The mother disappeared. The mothership disappeared. Because so many of those things were based around Boomtown Theater.
And 9th and Main. Because Craig was buying all the properties.
Yeah. 9th and Main was cool too, though. Like they had the theater in the back there, but the Boomtown Theater, that's where everybody was congregating. The black community, and the black community plays, and the white plays. Not to section people off by race, but for concise city purposes,
the gays.
the gays, and everybody is there. You know, and that was just great. You know, it was so great, and it was different, and it was like homespun, and then it closed, and I was shocked, and I was like, what? Why are you closing this? And then it was just like, it just never really recovered from there, because there was Boomtown Theater, and then there was Epicurean Market. Talk about being ahead of its time. It was an organic shop, food store.
Yeah.
And in a Victorian home, and it was a organic food, vegan, vegetarian restaurant.
And you could buy all the furniture.
With great coffee, and you could buy all the furniture if you wanted to. They had jazz upstairs. They started having jazz upstairs. There was Eden. Do you remember Eden?
Yeah.
That club? And
I have pictures of all that.
it was a lot of fun. And it's not like that anymore. Now it's like, I don't know what it is.
I went to Crispy's the other day. That was cool.
Crispy?
Yeah, Crispy's.
What is that?
It's I think it
Sounds like it's missing a cream.
between 6 and 7. Yeah. They got that. It's in the back. They can add the cream. But that's cool. And then there's like 2 new breweries or something over there. I don't know. I mean, try again.
Yeah, I get it. It's like, but this is where the changing of the guard happened for me. The whole brewery thing, the whole like, okay, this is commerce based now. It's like primarily it's commerce based now. Oh, this is a very good business model. It's very good business. People want brewer. People want unique craft brew. That's why, it's like a business. It's like, oh, it's like, it's you know what? It just went from the artist side to the commerce side to the business side, and don't try to act like it didn't. You know what I'm saying? It's just like and then people who own places like that are cool, and they're to be respected automatically because they're contributing to the neighborhood because they give the people jobs and they're giving people beer.
Yeah, but then what about...
And what about the plumber? The plumber has got everybody's... They're keeping you alive, okay?
Yeah, getting rid of all your
right, nobody
shit.
cares about the plumber. Get rid of all your shit.
Getting rid of all that bull.
Yeah.
No,
what about the school teacher?
What if it's the politics that will only allow the breweries to come in? Like, it takes so much to make stuff happen. Like, I remember I didn't want to work with people downtown to do, like, art things because it was like, let's have a meeting about the meeting where we might get something done. I'm like...
Welcome to City Hall.
I'm like, why can't we just do some shit? Like, this is what we need. Let's just do it.
Yeah.
I know you got money. I know you got money. Throw it on the table. Let's go. Mm-hmm. And I don't know why we can't just do cool stuff. I don't know where the block is.
There's not enough.
It might be the water.
If you would have asked me, 8 years ago, I would have said it's because there's not enough gays with money.
Okay.
Like in San Francisco.
All right.
One of the first... When I go to a new city...
And they're just hiding out because First Baptist isn't...
There's not. They would overpower them.
There's churches on every corner.
San Franciscans kept Walmart out, okay? They're like, nope, not in our county. That's power.
Yeah.
Keeping Walmart out? Give me a break, They're probably trying to put money into all kinds of people's pockets.
Well, what's First Baptist kept out? What of all the little...
If there was a critical mass of people, they would overrun it. Trust me, they would overrun it. It would just happen. It would just happen. But the truth of the matter is that this city is comprised of workers, people who go to their job.
Blue collar.
Go to their job, and then they want to watch some TV. They want to watch the football game on the weekend. They want to watch some TV when they get home. They want to drink some beer, go to the brewery, go to New York once a year or whatever they do. I don't know, take a trip. Or not, or just work and
Disney World,
hang out. Yeah, they're not interested in the artist life. They're not interested in the art life, like what I was telling you. Like it's a way of life. That way of life was happening during the Springfield situation.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, and there was a real potential there for that kind of explosion to happen there. But now looking back, I see that it would have run out of critical mass in a number of years. When Boomtown moved to this place downtown, it was underground. It was like a subterranean restaurant. Did you know that? You remember that? They moved. I never wanted to go in there. Mm-mm. Like it didn't feel the same. It was like, oh, I don't like it. I didn't want to eat there.
I don't remember.
It was a restaurant. Boomtown was a theater. And it was a restaurant. It was a place where people did poetry. It was an art gallery. It was a place where I played music.
Yeah. It was cool. It was fun.
Yeah.
Fun little scene.
Yeah, and it lasted so short of a time. You know what I'm saying? In comparison to. So what's happening over there in Sedona? What does that word mean, by the way? Is that a Native American word?
It isn't. The
Spanish?
No, the lady's mom just made it up.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. Mm-hmm. Was she black?
No.
No. So
cool.
What's happening over there? Is the fresh market trying to move in over there?
Yeah.
Is it
Whole
really?
Foods has got it on lock.
Does it really?
There is a big fancy Whole Foods, and it's really nice. And then there's like a natural grocers. You're able to find all kinds of holistic stuff that you'd never be able to find here.
You know, it's a bad word now, right?
Holistic?
Yeah. It's a bad word now.
No? Why?
It's just because it's just too much crap, too much nonsense has been attached to it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You see how this happens? Like, don't you feel weird like now? Do you use the word spiritual still? It feels weird to use that word now, doesn't it? Like, it's a spiritual, because it's been so bastardized. Yeah. It's been dragged through the mud by everybody, by Bikram, by...
Oh, here's a fun
I bet you
fact.
The internet's coming after Bikram now. The Me Too crew, they're coming after that dude. Oh, no. You know they're coming after that dude, right? Bikram. It's like, oh, he pinned me. Anyway, I don't want to make fun of it. I can't make fun of it.
Yeah, I don't want to fall down that rabbit hole.
I'll make fun of it in private.
I'm a visual person. I don't want to think about it.
Yeah.
But okay, let's see, Sedona. Oh, so one of the funny things that I heard the other day that just gives you like, this is the normal Sedona mind state. And it's perfectly fine. One of my friends was in the grocery store in the cereal aisle of Whole Foods, and he watched this lady pull down every box of cereal and hold her pendulum over the top of it. And he's like, what's it telling her? She's not even touching the real thing. Like, it's just a box. But that's just, nobody would think anything about that. And then another friend said that they sat down and they were like at a coffee spot, and there's two dudes next to them. Sit down, they're like, the one guy's like, so how's your chi, bruh?
I'm sure the Chinese are very happy about that.
Yeah.
How's your chi, bro?
How's your chi?
That's like what, like, look, when I hear a Southern, how am I going to put it to you? Oh, well, I'll just say it. When I hear a Southern Baptist preacher, let's say an early recording from, let's say, like 1968, because I've heard those. It's like chalkboard situation going on, and because of the contrast of it, because it's so far away from Jesus, over there in the Middle East, that Arab-looking Jewish whatever he was, like, he looked like that, right? Yeah. It's so far from there, and these people were talking about it like it is like, wow,
it looks just like Bin Laden. But...
right, something like that, right? But that the lady was holding the pendulum over here in Sedona, and then the other guy was talking about the chi thing.
So how they have like churches on every corner here and gas stations.
Yeah.
There's like crystal rock shops and like get your aura photographed and have your cards read.
No, here's the deal. If you ask me, I've done it. I've done all of it. I've done it. It's not like I'm going, that's bullshit. I'm not even going to go in that shop, right? I've been in that shop.
Yeah.
I hung out with the masters of that shop, like, so to speak, and I found that no, this is not where it's at. It's just this is another illusion. It's like this is another way for me to not face the shit that I need to face directly. You know what I'm saying, like, this is me going to the closet and doing some Wiccan witchcraft for me to learn how to play the cello when I need to sit down and tune the damn thing and get the strings on there right and play it, and play the scales over and over again. It's hard labor. It's just that that Sedona will probably get on my nerves a little bit, like that. And you know what? To a lot of Native American people, they probably laugh at it. They probably laugh at these things because they're.
I'm sure. I mean, I've thought about like, okay, I need to think up my own package, where people come out. You got tourists all the time. So what's my ritual? you take a shot of cactus blood, which is like prickly pear juice. But it could be authentic, Yeah. And then you write down your intentions for whatever the best case scenario is. And then you light a candle and you drink some holy water and then you tap a feather around or something, you do something and you pace around a cactus. I mean, like, you could make up whatever it is and just be like, this is going to heal your soul. and if you're, passionate enough, people are going to give you whatever you tell them.
I believe that if I wanted to, I could become a guru. If I wanted to be like, I can't do it now because I just told everybody. But I'm just saying.
Well, you'd be like Pied Piper, You just like.
No, I could go and play music and I could just. But here's the guru situation. Here's with a lot of social things. The people that you're the guru of, they have to be dumber than you. There's no way around it. There's no way. That's one of the primary conditions. Because if they're smarter than you, they're not going to buy your shit. You see what I'm saying? So that's not a very good. I would never want to be in a position where I was the smartest or most in control guy in the room, and I was picking things and I was picking people because they were dumber than me, whether I knew it or not. Or more ignorant than me about things, and like, I think that, and now, like, after being exposed to many things in, let's say, mental health, like, feel like, I'm weary of just about anybody who thinks that they can change somebody or help people or I'm weird about them because they're like the Natural Awakenings magazine and all these people, like life coaches and that kind of stuff. First of all, like, what do you do? That's my question. What are you doing? What are you doing? Like, I know you're coaching people, but what are you doing?
Yeah, what's your life like?
Yeah, and
so great.
And those kinds of things, and I to put myself into a position where I say, I'm going to fix people. I'm going to fix these people. I think you could do it, but not as a career. I think you could fix this one person, and then in 10 years, you could fix this other person.
I don't think you can fix people, period. I think you can influence people.
That's what I mean.
To make them want to change themselves. But, I mean, you're not fixing
I've done that a couple of times in my life.
Influence people for
like, totally
positive.
Like, whatever it is that I said or whatever it is that I did, and I continually did it, and I took them on as a friend or whatever, I actually changed the direction of their life. I know that. Mm-hmm. But
do you feel like they were a project when you were doing that? Or was it like you just knew that your influence...
I just knew that I needed to do this thing. I wasn't thinking about it like that. And now I'm weary about, because I have had people in my life who have seen people like they're going to do this to those people. But those people are always like fairly manipulative. You have to be, right? You have to be manipulative because you're going to manipulate people.
I mean, I think it's kind of egotistical to think that you can fix somebody else. Like, I think you can help, but to I'm going to fix this person. And like, what does that mean? You're going to make them... Or
you're going to help them, or you're going to fix them, or you're going to improve their life. You're going to improve their life. Which is possible, but it's weird, though, because money has gone into that area, too. Like, so people it's become a business. Like, helping each other has become a business,
Yeah.
And it's just super weird, because I'm old enough to live in a time where that was not, and culturally removed enough that I lived in a place where that just was not like. For example, let's say you hire somebody to clean your house, right? And they come and they clean your house, and that person it becomes your spiritual teacher while they're cleaning your house. They're not like, I'm here to be your spiritual teacher.
Yeah.
And this is what we're going to do. You know, that person sneakily or not sneakily or just inadvertently comes and they're cleaning your house and they're enlightened or whatever. And then they're teaching you things and they're teaching you about things. Like, for example, my guitar students, many of my guitar students got more than a guitar lesson. See what I'm saying? Like they, especially the ones that didn't care about the guitar. I would teach them other things through the music, like, like that kind of a thing. Well, we're here. They're paying me to be their guitar teacher. Obviously, they're not going to learn the guitar. You know what I'm saying? So we're going to learn something, you know. And the first thing I'm going to learn is I'm going to give them a head nuggie. No, I'm just kidding. No, like,
Yeah, this is how wedgies work.
this is how wedgies work. I think we have to stop because we're over 2 hours now.
What?
And
Really?
Yeah, and it's late, and I have to go to bed because I have to get up early, and it's 12:50 in the morning, and I have little kids, and I have no mercy.
That's crazy. But it's already late.
Yeah, and they have no mercy for me, and they wake me up in the morning, and they're like, "Too bad, you got to get up, Dad."
Yeah. Cool. Well, come check out the Vortex in Sedona.
You know, I want to. We should plan that.
In the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, we should plan that for this year.
It's a nice crack.
When do you when do you go? When is a good time to go? Like, I don't want to go when it's freezing, and I don't want to go when it, or is it always freezing at night? Or I don't want to go when it's blazing hot either.
Fall and spring. Those are like the most popular.
So, okay, so the spring then. So the spring is what? March?
Spring.
April?
Yeah, spring starts March. Maybe more April.
So we can do it then.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll go to Sedona, and I can look it up, and I can become a guru.
Podcast. Yeah, you can do a retreat. That's what we should think of. You'll do your own retreat.
Oh, I can make a retreat?
People pay like, $5,000 for a week of Goliath playing music on rocks somewhere. You go out and hike and play some fiddle. One of my favorite things is I have a massage teacher who will take you on a hike, and then she'll play a flute, and it's amazing.
Yeah, it sounds cool. That sounds super cool.
It's great.
You know, nobody's going to do that to you out here.
Right.
Yeah, they're not going to take you on a hike and then, or even a walk and then, let me play the flute for you.
Yeah.
Nobody does anything out here. All they do is post. That's all they do out here is post. On Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. That's it. That's all they do.
Well, you got to survive out there. And you got to have fun. You got to make your own fun.
Yeah, you know, I'll tell you what. Look, if I had to be around some bullshit, I'd rather be around that bullshit. Because I think a lot of it is bullshit. Like the crystals thing. Okay, yeah, I get it. But you don't know, they resonate, they hold. I think, blah, 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 blah. Here, look, before we go, I gotta tell you something. Here's like my more or less not well thought out hierarchy of our existence. First of all, there's number one and the most powerful is crudeness and the flesh and jagged edges and rocks and solid things. Number two is something else. And like number three is, and like number 5 or number 6, and maybe number 10 is like spirituality and like crystals and these kinds of things. Because if these things worked, if energy and intention worked in the way that, and I'm not saying that they don't, but in the way that people say that it does, in the way that they say that it does, then people like certain presidents, certain world leaders who millions of people have pointed hatred towards would die or catch fire spontaneously. But no, they're like swimming in an Olympic-sized pool and they're eating steak and they're eating a nice salad, and they're going to Turkey, and they're going to Europe, and they're going to Bora Bora, and they're going, you know what I'm saying, and they're going to the golf course. Nope, it's not happening. You know, all that intended energy or an intended energy towards somebody who to heal, et cetera, et cetera. And all the spiritual practices did not save the natives. You know, you could say nobody's been destroyed. Nobody's been eliminated. Jews are still here. Mexicans are still here. Natives are still here. Nobody's been eliminated. But cultures have died. You know, and those things, those crystals, these kinds of beliefs are for us who live in a luxurious place. Because like when The Secret came out and they're talking about thinking about things and intention, right? And the kid in Africa starving. And like Dave Chappelle said that joke. You go to that kid in Africa and you go, well, you know, your problem is you need to visualize a chicken sandwich. Yeah. And you need to like that. That's what you're not visualizing it hard enough. You know, those games are for us in a privileged, in a fortunate society. We have the luxury to give credence to these things. That's why I like going back to the thing of me walking down Powers Street. One time I was walking down Cassett. You know, when I'm going in my car and I'm seeing people walking down these streets, these relevancy deserts, so to speak, like I'm like, why is that person walking down the street? Or if they have a stroller, you know what I mean, or a pregnant woman walking down the street, what? It's like one of these just full of business signs all over it, and they're not even nice businesses or whatever. And like that is more towards, it's closer to real living, you know, and but yeah, that's my breakdown right there of that. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? There's people will go, oh, you're taking my fun away, you're taking my thing away. No, because I'm trying to show you that it's more fun to make your way and to find out what's really going on. You know what I'm saying? Like, instead of jumping on the bandwagon of this or jumping on the bandwagon. I'm not saying you can't even maneuver through those things. You can, you know, like you can make a store of like bullshit crystals. Like you could call it bullshit crystals, but they look real nice. No, but they look real nice, you know? So that's why I've abandoned like 90% of the spiritual things that I learned, because when it comes to the sword, when it comes to people bombing your house, none of these things are going to work. You're going to have to take action. So as long as we're living in peace, we can play around and we can do all different kinds of things like this. But if we're living under threat, like, which is remarkable because the Native Americans lived under constant threat. Not like all the time, but there was coyotes and there was bears and there was wolves and there was, you know what I mean? And there was other tribes every now and then. And
the white devil.
Well, that came later. But even before them, though, they still lived under threat, which actually brings you closer to the people around you to live under threat. And so they lived that way, and they had many teachings. But if you look at the Native American teachings, a lot of the spiritual stuff was put on there by Europeans. To them, it was like that. I was talking to you earlier about the guy in Guatemala who was like just polishing this thing. And it's very spiritual to us, and it's very spiritual to somebody from here. And to the Native Americans, their life was just full of simplicity and appreciation. It's already magical when you live in harmony with your environment. You know, and you understand your environment the way that they did. Can you?
So when you're in harmony, do you feel like there's more synchronicities?
I had to be taught. I had to be taught that synchronicities are relevant. You know what I'm saying? Like geometrically, I'm like, oh, look, these two things are happening together. That's super cool. right? This is great. This is a sign. This is telling me. And I can use it as a catalyst for that, and I will if I want to, you know. But are the synchronicities? You said, are the synchronicities?
When you're living more in harmony with your surroundings, do you get more synchronicities?
It's like all synchronicity. Like
all of your cells are
constantly
working in sync.
Yeah, it's like all
amazing.
synchronicity. Whenever I want to do anything that's worth a shit, okay, I have to muster up the effort. Otherwise, it's really not really, you know, and synchronicity is not involved with that, you know. When it relies on me, when I have to do something, you know, if I want to record a song, you know, that's all up to me. It's like all the synchronicity in the world is not going to make that happen, you know, and that does happen like once every 10 years. Like everything will fall into place in a way, and then people go banking on that, right? And you cannot, that's the exception. That's not the rule. That's the outlier. Like you cannot go through life banking on that occurring again, you know, because it does happen. These kinds of magical, like amazing looking synchronicities happen, but they don't happen very often, you know. And if they do, right? If they do, so what? But like somebody goes, well, it happened to me all the time. Like, oh my God, I keep going on here. But like something I discovered about yogis, okay, from India. I'm reading autobiography. I stopped midway. Autobiography of a yogi. I got into yogis. I was into yogis since I was a little kid, really, and I believe that I used to watch Paramahansa Yogananda on TV or something like that. I don't remember, and I don't remember his name, who the guy was, but one of the first thoughts that occurred to me was that started changing things when that in a certain arena was this yogi could do these tricks and he could make his hands smell like roses, or this other guy could make his arm, I don't know, or he could sit, or he could not eat, or right. And like with the UFOs, so to speak, they got this and they got that and the technology, and they could do this and they could do that. And I'm like, so what? Like, so what? What? This yogi levitates. So what? Like, what is that doing for you? What is that doing for me? There is people starving outside in India right now, and you're levitating over here? Who gives a shit, right? And it's like you're making your hands smell like roses. UFOs, they interstellarly traveled just to hover over us and watch us starve to death. It's like, so what? Like, we got this technology from the UFOs, and it's a big secret, government secret. So what? We're still starving to death. We still have war. It's like we're still have disease. It's like, thank you for your technology. It's useless. You know what I'm saying? It's like to a degree. I know that's extreme, like to say it's useless, but.
Well, I feel like we're at the point where we do have enough resources that nobody has to be starving.
That's a shame. It's even more of a shame, though, yeah. It's like more of a shame because people are, right?
Right. But, you know, people need drugs and war, and peace isn't that profitable. Unless, you know, you're seeing riches and wealth as getting along and being in harmony with your surroundings or the people that you encounter. I think encouragement is a lot less here.
Wealth is unnatural. I say it's unnatural because it seems to bring about all kinds of horrible, bad things with it. One of the reasons that the Native Americans were generally so happy was because they couldn't be wealthy. Why couldn't they be wealthy? Because they were nomads. You can only become as wealthy as what you can carry. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't be like, oh, I got stockyards on the West Coast, and I got this on the East Coast, and then there we go to that thing about the lawn, and you got to worry about your lawn. People start stealing your shit, and you're like, God damn it. And like, then somebody breaks into your house, and they take your Fabergé egg, and...
But as a native, you were rich because your whole tribe had your back. And like, legitimately had your back, you know, and could help you build a house.
Yeah. It's great. It is great. I grew up in a culture similar to that, right?
Yeah.
Your whole block.
Like, we wouldn't have to go put a tip jar out if we all just planned a day that, hey, we're going to build your house, and then we're going to build my house, and then we're going to build their house.
Yeah.
You know.
And that's how they do it. That's how certain tribes in all over the world still do that, like that. They still do it like that. Oh, you know what? Sarah needs a house. Hey, everybody, we're going to make Sarah a house tomorrow.
Yeah.
Bam. There's like 50 people making you a house right now. Mm-hmm. And that's the best house ever, right? Everybody made it for you.
That's built with love.
Yeah. Yeah, not like these tract homes or whatever. Like you built up house for sale.
It's like grandma's cookies versus...
I'm never going to forgive you for keeping me up so late.
Store-bought. Sorry.
So this, I don't know, this past hour it's all been you over here on the computer screen. No, I can't. I just looked at the picture again. It's still frozen over there.
Yeah, got that. Just leave it on that crazy. The whole time. Instead.
I know.
Can I just can I add a slideshow? I'll send you like some photos of Sedona.
You know what? I can't because I don't know how to edit. That's why I changed the camera as we're going.
Oh, okay.
It's only one. It's two cameras going into one stream.
Camera one.
Exactly.
Camera two.
Yeah. So whichever one, the other one is not. The other one is gone. If the other one is off, if one of them is off, it's not. There's no material there. So one of their conditions was that if I'm going to do this podcast like this, I'm not going to edit it.
Yeah.
I can, but I'm not a video editor, so it's really hard for me. You know, I'm like, I don't have the right software, and I'm like, my software is like cheap.
What if I just sent you one image to put over the whole thing?
I mean, I can. I think you should just leave it. It looks fine.
Okay.
I think it's cool.
Thanks.
I think you'll regret it if I do that. I think we should leave it like this.
All right.
Even look, what are you worried about? You should see the face I'm making over here. It's terrible. I'm like this. All right. All right. Thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me. Come visit.
You're welcome.
Vortex.
Yeah, this spring.
All right.
Okay.